All right. Good morning, everybody. The subject today is the Hold Harmless. I want to talk specifically about this document because it has a specific statement in there that I think we're all getting a little too relaxed on. So first, I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then we'll talk about it. The undersigned client or clients have been advised that they are signing a contract or contracts with legal consequences. Although I have offered to read the contracts in its or their entirety, the clients have declined that opportunity and have requested that I not read the contracts. By signing below, the contracts agree that they hold, and that would be your name. So we'll say Lori Sternberg, designated agent, Real Techs Incorporated, also known as Coldwell Banker Premier Group, and its employees harmless from any and all damages, actions, claims, and suits which may arise by the signing of these contracts. Contracts which clients have not wanted to read or to read would consist of either the listing agreement, the buyer's agency agreement, and any amendments, residential sale contract, the special sales contract, the residential lease agreement, broker compensation right, or seller's disclosure, or any other item that they would be signing off on, okay? And then the clients would sign it, and then you as the agent will sign it, okay? Can anybody tell me what is the most important key in this document? Go ahead and unmute yourself. If anyone can tell me what the most important key in this document is. Oh, come on. I know somebody knows. Okay, then. Well, I'm glad we're going to talk about this. The most important key is it states, although I have offered to read, and remember that word, I have offered to read the contracts in their entirety to the clients, they have declined that opportunity and requested that I not read the contract. This document is not to be used for every single contract. Okay, it should only be used when the buyer or the seller does not want to sit down with you for you to explain it. We should always offer the opportunity to sit down and consult with them and go over the documents. I've had a few instances lately where, yes, the hold harmless is in the loop and it is fully signed. However, the client does not understand the contract. Even though they are initialing the bottom of each page and they're signing that contract, does not necessarily mean they understand it, even though they're initialing it, okay? If that client comes back and says, well, they never offered to sit down with me, and we have this document, that's a problem, okay? Clients need to understand what they're going through. This is a big process. This is a huge purchase and a big sale for both a buyer and a seller. So we need to get back to the table, bring your buyers in, sit down and go through the whole consultation with them. You know, we have a class on the buyer process. I would encourage you all to join me each month. In April, it is on the 23rd at 9:30, just after the 15 minutes with Lori. So on the 23rd at 9:30, I go over the buyer process and I talk about everything that you need to say to a buyer. You need to get to know them. You got to ask the right questions. You've got to go over that Missouri broker disclosure form and a buyer's agency or a listing contract, depending on if you're talking with a buyer or a seller. And then, go through the entire process of what it looks like so they fully understand. So there's no confusions as things go along. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Just
Yes. Go
a
ahead.
comment, Laurie.
Yes.
We've had buyers and sellers come back to us saying your agent didn't read. We didn't go over the contract together. I didn't know this, and I had the wrong expectations when signing the contract. So this is really an important form, And it raises a lot of questions to the buyer and the seller. They say, well, don't do it. They've signed this. You show them the form, and why are you doing this? Because, well, it's because this is an important thing that you know the contract. And if you don't, yeah. So
I want to point out our Code of Ethics, Article 9, Standard Practice 9.2. When assisting or enabling a client or customer in establishing a contractual relationship, the listing and representation agreements, purchase agreements, leases, etc. Electronically, realtors shall make reasonable effort to explain the nature and disclose the specific terms of the contractual relationship being established prior to being agreed to by a contracting party. So this article I have had come across my desk as a grievance, a complaint to the St. Louis Realtors. As you know, I am on that committee, and I see these things come across, and we really read thoroughly through everything. But when there's text messages and emails that show that the agent never offered to sit down with them and review it, whether it's in person or over the phone, then we believe that this could be a possible violation of Code of Ethics 9-2. So it is important to offer to your buyers and sellers to sit down and review the entire process. Will it take time? Absolutely. Our contract is not very short, which, there's reasons for that. And they're called lawsuits. So we've got to make sure that, to avoid those things, which, by the way, I'm super proud of our agents for doing such a good job. I've been on the grievance committee for a little over a year now, and knock on wood, I have not had to recuse myself for anything because none of our agents have been a part of it. So kudos to all of you. But I just want to point this out because I do think there has been some questions about whether some of you are offering the ability to sit down and review the contract with everybody. So it's important for you to take charge of that and make sure that you're doing the right thing. Okay. Any questions that anybody might have? Bill, is there anything you'd like to share this morning?
No, I sent out an email the other day about the Caldwell Banker coming to St. Louis on May 5th. So I would suggest you register if you really want to go to that, because I think it'll fill up quickly.
Yes, because there is a limited amount of people who can be there because of the capacity of the building. So get registered early. Again, Bill sent it out yesterday. I believe I sent it out in my scoop either last week or the week before as well.
It's
Mark go ahead, Mark.
Excuse me. This is not just for Caldwell Banker Premier, by the way.
Right.
It's you'll get to meet agents from all over the state, and I think Arkansas, Illinois. So it's a great opportunity to network with other agents.
Yeah, and it's Caldwell Banker affiliates as we are. So
Yep.
It's none of the corporations that Caldwell Banker offices have. It's strictly Caldwell Banker affiliates, which we are that. Mark, is there anything you would like to share this morning?
Since you're talking about the hold harmless and people don't understand the contracts, agents should remind the clients to look in the upper left-hand corner that said, this is a legal document. If you don't understand, consult an attorney.
Absolutely. And I had to share that with somebody this last week, one of our clients who's trying to dictate the contract in a different way. And we've explained and explained and explained. And in the end, he's trying to make it seem something that it's not, make it more complicated. So I did refer him to reading that in the top corner and let him know that he has every right to speak with legal counsel to fully understand that contract, because since we are not attorneys, we cannot fully make sure that they understand. We can do our best, but when they keep coming back and saying they don't understand, they need to make sure that they have the right to speak to counsel. Okay. Let's see. Norm, is there anything else you would like to share this morning?
I think Mark makes a good point. Anytime I sit down with a buyer or seller going over the contract, I certainly read that paragraph in the upper left-hand corner, because this is a legally binding document. And, I never had anybody call an attorney, but I've always given them the option to do that. So that was a good point, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. So back to the code of ethics. I should probably also mention that Article 1 is all about protecting and promoting the interest of your client. So if they don't understand that contract, it's kind of difficult for us to protect that interest for them. So making sure that they know what the deadlines are, making sure they know what the ramifications are if those deadlines aren't met, making sure that we are following through with the lenders, the title company, inspectors, appraisers if it's a cash deal, insurance companies, anything that we need to make sure needs to meet a deadline. It's our responsibility to make sure and follow through, and that gets done. Or we need to make sure that the buyer or seller knows ramifications if they're not, and amendments also to extend things. So anybody have any other questions this morning? We're cutting it super short this morning. You got 2 extra minutes in your day. So have a great day, everybody.
A great
Go
week,
get those
everyone.
sales.
Bye.
Bye.
I remember